We are about to simulate a World Cup with 227 nations in it. That's more nations than are in the UN. It has 4 different rounds of group stages before it gets to the last 16, but it starts with a qualifying 6 teams from the bottom of CONCACAF. The winner of these qualifying matches will play in group stages with potentially any team in the entire world. Montserrat embarrassed St. Pierre and Miquelon 10-0. The US Virgin Islands finished off a 5-2 aggregate win over Saint Barthélemy, but the real drama was Turks and Caicos and Anguilla. Tied 4-4 on aggregate going into stoppage time of the second leg, Harty scored a 91st minute goal to send Anguilla into the group stages. And with 3 nations eliminated, we are now able to fit the entire world into a bunch of groups of 14. It goes all the way down to Group P, dude. As an example, Group A contains Norway, Netherlands, Senegal, Montenegro, Azerbaijan, Guadeloupe, Greece, Zimbabwe, Guyana, Burkina Faso, UAE, Myanmar, Malta, and Northern Mariana. And using Football Manager, these national teams are populated with the actual players that play for them. If you finish in the top 6, you make it to the next round. The only problem is then there are 3 more group stages after that. Some of these matchups are just fantastic. We have the Bahamas against Gibraltar. Big win for the Rock, 3-1. Honduras and Tanzania battle it out to a draw. Trinidad and Tobago handles Latvia 3-1, obviously. Kyrgyzstan beating up on Liechtenstein. Guatemala beating Hong Kong. Belgium somehow managing to beat Cuba just 2-1. 2-1. Cuba had 1 shot. Hey. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. But there's a lot of matches to play, so it's time to simulate into the Matrix. Hi, it's Zealand in the Matrix. While we're here, just you and I figured we'd thank UGAN666, who designed this Universal World Cup database. There is a link to download it if you'd like to play in it or simulate it yourself in the description. And just generally a massive shout out to them for making a super cool database. Okay, the simulations are done, and a lot of the long shots like Northern Mariana have been eliminated, but here are some of the fun teams still in the competition. Azerbaijan stayed alive. Uzbekistan and the Republic of Congo battled through. Uganda and Tajikistan. DR Congo won its entire freaking group. Actually, India just missed out on making the knockouts. Kuwait and Kazakhstan kept the dream alive. Burundi kept it going, getting out of the same group that England was in. You know, I had big money on Mayotte. Minus 88 goal difference in 13 matches. They were so close. Niger pulled out a stunner, finishing ahead of Belarus and New Zealand and a pretty good Comoros side to get to the next round. But a tough out for Zanzibar with the 12 losses and 1 win against San Marino because, of course, China snaked its way in past Gabon and Curacao. The United States qualified top of its group. You know what I'm saying. Turkmenistan got through over a very unsettlingly large collection of islands. Kenya put together a sparkling campaign with 8 wins from 13. Jamaica, Togo, and Benin qualified spectacularly. Angola made it look easy, and then in the final group, Luxembourg stayed alive at the expense of Switzerland. That's right, Switzerland got eliminated in the first group stage. So did Iraq. So did Wales, who finished behind Togo, Benin, and Jamaica, which, look, I knew they were cooked without Bale. I did not know how cooked they were without Bale. Finland somehow missed out. And then there was this group, a ridiculously hard group that got drawn where Russia and Iran were eliminated in the first round. That brings us to round 2, which again is randomly drawn. 6 teams, and you have to finish in the top 4. An example of a group is Group A right here. Syria, Bulgaria, Burundi, Croatia, Ghana, and Turkey. Personally, I'm looking forward to the Kenya-Uzbekistan showdown in the group, but we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see if there's something else that can draw my eye here. But anyways, let's simulate. The groups are done. Burundi and Syria are out. Sad. In a tough group, Morocco was also eliminated next to upstart Cyprus. The Republic of Congo and Palestine were both eliminated, while Togo managed to survive. Armenia and Slovakia were dispatched, but just a huge shout out to Armenia for getting 3 draws against Chile, Austria, and Slovakia. Our heroes from Niger met their end, but not before getting a draw with Scotland, and South Korea was eliminated as well, which is a very poor showing there. In the best group that was created in this round, Panama, Uzbekistan, Kosovo, and Guinea-Bissau advanced, advanced, and Azerbaijan and Kenya were smited. All Azerbaijan needed to do was not lose in the final match day, but they got smoked at home by Kosovo 4-0. World Cup darlings Saudi Arabia were eliminated alongside Benin, but that kept Jamaica and Ireland still active. Uganda and Guinea were outclassed and eliminated. The Gambia and Turkmenistan were launched away, but North Macedonia kept the dream alive. Venezuela and Kuwait were knocked out, but Cape Verde kept things rolling, and so did England and Iceland and Mexico. And why I'm saying every single team, you can see it. It's right there. Then there was Group K, which produced an excellent struggle between Northern Ireland and China, where Northern Ireland managed to come out on top and stay alive, eliminating China and a spirited Kazakh side. Angola continues its excellent run alongside Georgia and Albania, with Mo Salah's Egypt and Jan Oblak's Slovenia biting the dust. Trinidad and Tobago and Mauritania were yeeted, while Canada and Montenegro kept going strong. Honduras and Indonesia met their fate, with Bolivia inching past Honduras on the final day thanks to a draw against Colombia. And I promised myself I wasn't going to show highlights before we at least got to the third round because there's so many matches happening, but here's the 89th minute goal with commentary. Bolivia on the ropes against Colombia. They know they need a goal now. The situation laid bare as the final minutes are ticking off. It's Cuellar. Cuellar's gone to Algarañas. Algarañas to Cuellar. Oh, he stamped it home. That's a brilliant finish with it all on the line for Cuellar. Worth mentioning, DR Congo continues to look very comfortable, finishing ahead of Colombia. Dark horse? Question mark. Then there was the epic battle between Luxembourg and Tajikistan to join Spain, Sweden, and Bosnia and Herzegovina in the next round. And they would play on the final day with 3 points apiece. On goal difference, Luxembourg was okay, so a draw would do. But Tajikistan, needing a win, scored first. On their quest for a third round appearance, Tajikistan, Rahimov searching for Somiev. He's found him, and Tajikistan has found a lead. But then it was Luxembourg in the second half. Jagovic, Barrero, he's got space, he's got Phil cuts in, and he scores the goal the Luxembourg needs. But literally all of that pales in comparison to the utter absurdity of Group O. I'm just gonna show you the table. Every team except Brazil had the same number of points. Romania, Paraguay, the US, Mali, and Cameroon. Romania beat Mali and Cameroon and lost to everybody else. Paraguay beat Mali and Romania. The United States beat Romania and Paraguay, the two teams ahead of it, the final standing. Mali beat the United States and Cameroon beat the United States and Paraguay. The variables are beyond insane here, but by the very skin of their teeth, Romania, Paraguay, and the United States squeak through. All Mali had to do was not lose to Romania on the final day, but that was too much to ask. Which brings us to the third round, a real culling. 8-team groups. The top 4 advance. And this time, there are only 8 groups of 8. So here they are. See if you can find your favorite team amongst the fray, because we're about to enter the Matrix. Are you ready? Simulation time. I'll be honest, the surprises hit in round 3, starting in Group A, where Mexico is eliminated, but Kosovo survives. Australia edges Ecuador for the final spot, with Turkey and Sweden managing to qualify comfortably enough. North Macedonia and Montenegro bite the dust. Croatia, Portugal, and Austria sail free of the fray, with Denmark hanging tight to the final qualifying spot ahead of Bulgaria, Albania, and then a very disappointing performance from Poland and Czechia. They're out. Group C saw 3 teams qualify comfortably: Brazil, Ivory Coast, and Ukraine, with a stunner, Angola, getting to the 4th round of the tournament. On the final day, Angola needed a win and needed Bosnia and Herzegovina to lose, and both happened. Angola dominated Northern Ireland 3-0, with Ukraine beating Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0. Israel, Northern Ireland, and Georgia also eliminated. No. Oh no. The US is out before the 4th round. Iceland wins the group, with Canada, DR Congo, and Scotland making it into the 4th round. The US couldn't get out of that group. Oh. Togo and Guinea-Bissau got found out. They were played off the pitch in this round, but Ireland and the US were close. There was just no breakthrough. It all came down to the final match day, the United States against Scotland. US on 11 points, Scotland on 10. And the United States started wonderfully. All kept alive by Pulisic. It's Taylor Booth. Oh, Booth has shelved it! What a finish! But Scotland, needing multiple goals to make it to the 4th round, found its mojo. Scotland now, Doak. He's trapped in the corner. He's got McTominay. Patterson! Oh, it was too easy for Scotland. It's 1-1. Patterson's got room on this right wing. One goal and make all the difference for Scotland. Chris Richards. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's a catastrophe. It's unimaginable horror for Chris Richards of Crystal Palace. But just when Scotland thought they were safe, disaster. The United States needs a goal now to make it to the 4th round. Pulisic still going. Oh, it's deflected in. Oh, it's good fortune for the United States. And with the match tied at 2 and 15 minutes left in their every team World Cup, Scotland pulled this. Again. Oh, it's Ferguson! It had to be a set piece! Ireland also fumbled a chance in the final day to get itself in the mix with a 2-0 loss to an apparently very good DR Congo. In a truly ridiculous group, Spain, Germany, Uruguay, and Colombia managed to make it to the 4th round, with Uzbekistan, Tunisia, Cape Verde, and Moldova wondering why they got such a stupidly hard draw. In Group F, Italy sailed well above the fray, but then 4 or 5 teams, depending on how you look at it, contested the other 3 spots. Chile, Serbia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Romania. Greece and Ghana, see you later. By the final day, Romania was already out of it, but there was South Africa, Nigeria, Serbia, and Chile. Serbia sat on 8 points. South Africa sat on 9 points. Nigeria was on 10, and Chile was on 11, feeling safe already. But Serbia was playing South Africa, which meant that it was a must-win situation for the Serbs, who promptly delivered a 5-1 beatdown of South Africa to get to the next round. The next group was also ridiculous, with France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Norway sneaking its way into the next round. The particularly striking thing about this group, though, isn't the 4 teams that made it out, it's the teams that didn't. You see, Luxembourg finished at the bottom, having lost every match in this group, and that's because the teams eliminated above them are Senegal, Hungary, and Argentina. Lionel Messi's Argentina won just 1 of their 7 matches, and it was against Luxembourg. It drew Hungary and Senegal and lost to all of the top 4 teams. An absolute disaster for the Argentine national team. Fire everybody and start over. The reigning world champions dismantled, not even making it to the final group stage round. Group H kept the dream alive for a couple of underdogs, Jamaica and Paraguay, which qualified for the next round along with Peru and a very comfortably safe England that won all 7 matches. Algeria, Panama, Bolivia, and Japan, stunningly, convincingly, were eliminated. Japan finished last, for crying out loud. Terrible showing from the Japanese, which presents us with our final 32 teams organized in 4 groups of 8. These are the teams remaining. Pick your favorite now. Simulation time. Group A contains some of my favorite underdogs, DR Congo and Jamaica, but they were finally smited. Jamaica did muster 2 draws with Brazil and Uruguay, but lost to everybody else. And DR Congo drew Uruguay and beat Jamaica, but lost to everybody else after that. Paraguay was eliminated handily as well, with the final 4 spots coming down to 5 teams on the last day, particularly Sweden, Uruguay, Norway, and Serbia. Sweden took care of business with a big 5-2 win over Jamaica that guaranteed it would go to the next round. But Norway was playing against Paraguay, and it was being left incredibly late. Norway needed a goal. If Norway failed to find one, both Serbia and Uruguay would be safe. But then this happened. Norway's on the move. They have to be Romsas. Vitry. Osnes! Oh, yes, it's Osnes! With that goal, Serbia was on the outside looking in, and despite a spirited effort, it would lose 4-3 to Uruguay, meaning Serbia was the last team out. Norway once again sneaks through in the final qualifying spot to get to the last 16 teams in the World Cup. The World Cup. Gotta come up with a name at some point. And in Group B, the surprises kept rolling. Turkey, Peru, and Ukraine were all eliminated on 6 points apiece, but this incredibly difficult group with Italy, Belgium, Spain, Germany, and Ivory Coast would have to eliminate one of those teams. And I guarantee you, you are not gonna guess which team actually gets knocked out. You see, on match day 2, one of the most unbelievable results of all time occurred that signaled that something was in the works. The Ivory Coast, playing at home against Germany, beat the German national team 6-0. I'm not kidding when I say I've looked at almost every result in this tournament so far. That is the most ridiculous one I've seen. This is simulating on Football Manager with real players and full full detail level, and Ivory Coast just beat Germany 6-0. It meant the Ivory Coast finished first in the entire group with 15 points, losing to Spain and Italy but beating both Germany and Belgium. Italy was also safe on the final day with 14 points, leaving Belgium, Spain, and Germany. One of those teams is going out. Belgium entered the final day safe. Even though it lost to Italy, it would finish with 12 points, meaning it's Spain and Germany. Germany needed to win, and it did. 3-0 in the final match of this group stage, the final group stage. But it also needed Spain to lose, and Spain went to Peru and delivered a 2-0 win, which meant Germany was out in the final group stage, grouped at the World Cup once again, in favor of the Ivory Coast. Group C was absolutely brutal, but England, Portugal, and France battled their way through, and Denmark managed to survive a late charge from Nigeria, Croatia, and Chile. Then there was Australia. They managed to draw with Nigeria, so shout out. Nigeria needed a win on the final day against Portugal, but couldn't muster it. It went down 2-0 by halftime and ended up losing 3-1. Denmark also needed to win, but actually fell behind to Australia before coming back on the road to clinch a 3-2 victory, with a clutch strike from Jesper Lindstrom in the 76th minute, enough to send Denmark through. But it would be in Group D that the true Cinderella of this tournament would finally emerge. The Netherlands and Austria managed to make the next round comfortably, with Iceland, Canada, and Kosovo finally eliminated after a very good run from all three of those teams, leaving Colombia, Angola, and Scotland for the final 2 spots. But the interesting thing is Angola entered the final day on 12 points, Colombia on 10, and Scotland on 9. Colombia matched up with Austria and got blasted 3-0 by the Austrian national team. This is part of the whole qualifying comfortably thing. That result meant that a win for Angola would send Colombia to the round of 16, and a win for Scotland would send Scotland improbably to the round of 16, which prompted a ridiculous match. Scotland struck first, with Callum McGregor bursting through the line to make it 1-0. Then that horror tackle from Angola made sure that Angola was playing down a man from the 37th minute. Scotland would score 2 more goals in the second half before Angola scored 1 to bring it back, and then got a second red card. But it didn't matter. Angola was already safe, and now so was Scotland, with Colombia out. Which brings us at long last to the final 16 of the World Cup. Randomly drawn as always: Portugal, Austria, Scotland, Denmark, England, Brazil, Angola, France, Cinderella, it might be midnight, Norway, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Uruguay, Ivory Coast, Spain, Sweden. Those are the teams left. The matches will be played over 2 legs, and there were some key takeaways. First, that Scotland and Denmark drew, that Angola was basically out, that Norway dominated Belgium 4-0 in the first leg thanks to a brace from Erling Haaland and from Ramsas, and Spain basically eliminated Sweden with a 6-1 win in the first leg. Ivory Coast also picked up the lead on Uruguay. But in the second leg, things would turn. England's 2-0 lead against Brazil evaporated into a 5-1 Brazil win in the second leg to knock England out in the round of 16. The perennial FM favorites, ding dong, the witch is dead. Austria turned on the Jets to level Portugal. France completed its win over Angola. Norway held on for its win against Belgium. Italy pulled away from the Netherlands in the second leg, and Spain 0-0'd Sweden to go through 6-1 on aggregate. Ivory Coast scored 3 goals in the first 27 minutes to pull out a 5-3 win on aggregate against Uruguay. And then there was Denmark, Scotland. 1-1 in the first leg, 0-0 in the second leg, with a combined total 0.42 XG in the entire match. And it would all come down to this penalty from Porteous. Red card in the Euros, and he misses the penalty to send Scotland home. That means from 227 teams, we are down to 8. Brazil and France, Spain, Norway, Denmark, Ivory Coast, Italy, and Austria. And oh, did this round of matches deliver. The first leg was a 2-0 win for France over Brazil, a 1-0 win for Spain over Norway. Denmark and Ivory Coast battled to a 1-1 draw, and Italy and Austria battled to a 2-2 draw. But basically every match was still to play for. The only multi-goal lead was France over Brazil, and Brazil was down 2-0 to England in the previous round, only to blow them out anyways. And that match would prove to be arguably the most dramatic one of the entire tournament. First, it was Brazil on the move. Caio Henrique tackled away Rodrigo, and France is now playing out. Oh, turned over by Mbappe! He's given it away! It's horrific from Kylian Mbappe! Brazil down 1 goal on the aggregate just before halftime. Vinicius Jr. on the move. It's Martinelli right through the French. It is 2-2 on aggregate, and here comes Brazil trying to find a win. Gerson Also, bad pass. Claudinho's not looking for it. Mbappe. Griezmann. Oh! What a goal from Antoine Griezmann. France leads 3-2 on aggregate. Brazil are running out of hope now. It's Martinelli. Vinicius Jr. Alisson retreats to his goal. Vinicius. Oh, it's in! Would you believe that? On to penalties. Mbappe saved by Edison. And after Mbappe's miss, France fell apart. Kolo Muani missed the next penalty. Brazil converted all of theirs. Game, set, match. 95th minute winner from Vinicius from a corner that Ederson was up for. But Brazil has now gone through England and France to get to the semifinal. In the Austria-Italy match, Nicolo Barella scored early, and then Italy hung on to a 1-0 win for 3-2 on aggregate over an incredible Austrian team. What a performance from Ralf Rangnick's boys. And then once again in the second leg, Ivory Coast 3-0 over Denmark to win 4-1 on aggregate. Ivory Coast going to the semifinal, and they would be joined by either Spain or Norway. Spain held a 1-0 lead on aggregate going into the second leg, but Norway has a secret weapon, and you probably know who it is. Oh, it's Haaland. Haaland with the interception. Can he go all the way here, Erling Haaland? From midfield! That was brilliant. It's 1-1. Norway and Spain. Extra time is looming. Oh, they've got him quickly. It's taken quickly. It's scored quickly by Erling Haaland. They've stolen the match. A remarkable performance from the Norwegian national team flipped the script and gave them a 2-1 win, meaning the final 4 teams are Brazil, Italy, Ivory Coast, and Norway. Showtime. In the first legs were mirror images of each other. Matches that were tied going into stoppage time, with Brazil scoring in the 95th minute and Italy scoring in the 92nd minute to take a 1-goal lead into the second leg. For Italy, this managed to overcome yet another Erling Haaland brace. Which, by the way, there is a golden boot for this thing. Erling Haaland leads the way with 43 goals scored, so that's sick. Mbappe with 38 and Christian Kwame of Ivory Coast with 35. In the second leg, Ivory Coast started to do the impossible. Down 2-1 to Brazil, it scored this. All back in, it's Adingra. He settled it, he spins, he shoots. Oh! It's a horrific bit of goalkeeping from Alisson, but it does not matter for Ivory Coast. They are level on aggregate. But out of the half, Brazil scored 2 quick goals to put the incredible Ivorians away. 4-2, Brazil to the final. And in the Norway match, we had a similar flicker of hope. Norway down 1 goal on the aggregate. It's Julian Reyes, and he's looking for Haaland! He's found him! We are tied! But Norway could not hold back an Italian onslaught, with the score ending 4-2 to Italy on the day in 7-4 on aggregate. Our final 2 Cinderellas met their defeat in the semifinal. And from 227 teams, we have our final 2, Italy and Brazil. Like everything else in this tournament, just to be fair, the final is 2 legs. And in the first leg, it was Italy's time. It looks as though we might just settle for a draw at 0-0. Colombo, oh, what a turn! What a finish! Of all people, it's Colombo to win it for Italy. Lorenzo Colombo's heroics meant that the final match of the World Cup would start with Italy up 1. Could Brazil come from behind again, or would the Italians manage to win a World Cup after having missed the last 2? Well, the first half produced no goals at all, which meant that Italy was 45 minutes away from a title. But then, Brazil on the corner, it's Gabriel, and we are tied in the final. 72nd minute now, Brazil building something. Cunha, Martinelli. Oh, is that the championship moment for Brazil? They lead 2-1. The Italians off the kickoff here. They're looking for an immediate response. Zaniolo. Oh, it's through Raspadori. It's all clean. The referee has played advantage. We are tied 2-2 on aggregate here in the 85th minute. Oh, long ball. It's open. Rodrigo's in. Here comes Rodrigo. Gabi! It's Gabi goal to win it for Brazil. All that's left now is to hang on. But here comes Italy. Calabria, it's Ravella, it's on to Barella. Barella's got some space here, he shoots, deflected, and it's in the 89th minute of play. In the final match, the Italians have tied it on aggregate. And this unlocked a crazy quirk in the database. It forced a final replay. The final replay would be a one-off. No more 2-legged nonsense. One more match to see if a winner could be crowned. Teams are settling into the game now. It's a good run from Di Lorenzo, and he's got a pocket of space. Brazilians are backing off him here. Di Lorenzo to Frattesi! Yes, Italy 1-0. The Italians on the throw-in. It's Di Lorenzo. Oh, that's it. Surely that's it. Chiesa's been taken down. Referee Tariq Mansour has pointed to it, and Italy has an opportunity to double its lead. Zaccagni, easy. Like he wasn't in a final. But then, just a few minutes later, João Pedro. Oh, they've got it right back. Di Lorenzo's gone right through the back of him. João Pedro, it sends Donnarumma the wrong way. And it is 2-1 Italy in the final. That score would carry into the half, but the action would kick off again immediately at the start of the second half. For Tessie, he's already got one today. He goes for it. Oh my goodness me! Heavens above! Fratesi, have the game of your life. And try as they might, Brazil only got 2 shots on goal, meaning after 227 teams and 3 matches in the final because of a replay, the world champions are Italy with a 3-1 final in the final replay match. Thank you again to Eugen666 for making this database. Be sure to check it out in the description. And if you want to watch 11 Messis play against 11 Cristiano Ronaldos, it's actually even more than that. We made a giant tournament of teams of 11 of the same person. It's very fun. The video's right there. It's, yeah, World Cup of dudes. What a dream.